While it may be cold outside, things are getting toasty warm at Global Voice Broadcasting. Heat up your winter nights with the hottest topics, the hottest celebrities, and today's best music. It's why Global Voice Broadcasting is becoming your 24/7 home for the music and talk you want right now. Discover your favorite shows and music anytime at globalvoicebroadcasting.com.
I highly recommend Ms. Hicks. Her books, her CDs are encouraging.
I bought her book, A Hill to Climb. She's a very inspirational speaker.
And I look forward to one day being able to work with her.
Your power lies within you. Let it loose.
Aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, determination. These are the keys of life success, brought to you by none other than award-winning author, motivational lecturer, business consultant, and much more as she gets you aimed to your purpose. And now, ladies and gentlemen, young and elder, from Hollywood to the entire world, here is your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, Louise Hicks, along with her co-host, yours truly, Kennon Wesley Mason.
Hello, world. How's everybody doing today? I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
And I am Kennon Wesley Mason, your co-host of Aim to Purpose, the radio show. We want to welcome all of you to this transmission as we take you international today.
Yes, we are going to Brazil, and we have a very dynamic guest. We have an author on today, F.T. Camargo, and we are so excited about this author because this book is just amazing. And I'll show you the book, and then we're going to get to the bio and everything. This is the book. You see that? Shanti and the
Shanti and the Magic Mandala.
And we're going to have a great show today, and we're going to be Skyping in all the way to Brazil. And that's what we're all about, bringing you dynamic global guests from across the world. And as Ken says, sometimes we are going to work with some are going to bed. So since we're global, we never know who's doing what.
Yes.
But at any rate, it's we're into the year. Today is January 19th, and we're already into the third week of the year. How time flies is amazing.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're just going to jump right in, and we're going to, first, I think before we introduce our guests, we're going to show you a little preview of this exciting, adventurous book. It's so intriguing. So let's just show you a little bit about it, and so you can see why we are so excited about it.
Yes, absolutely.
A new battle between light and darkness is fought. A group of black magicians from times of old have returned to dominate the world. The only one who can stop them is a 15-year-old girl living in New York City, a girl with an ancient destiny. She meets Krishna himself in a vision and is catapulted into a mysterious realm of gods and magic. To save our planet, she must gather friends of different religions and cultures from many parts of the world in a frantic chase for a sacred object that can stop the Black Magician's final plan. She must confront her destiny and unlock the secrets of her past. Her name is Shanti.
Wow. Now you
like
see
that.
why we are so excited about this novel.
I like that.
So let's go ahead and we're going to introduce and just bring our guest in, and we're Skyping in to Brazil today.
Yes, yes. F.T. Camargo is an Italian Brazilian living in Sao Paulo, Brazil. An award-winning architect, he has a degree in arts and media. He is devoted to animals and has been deeply involved in causes for their protection and freedom. He is a world traveler, speaks 4 languages, which includes English, Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish, and has published a travel book, Rio Maravilha. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. For many years, he has been practicing yoga and meditation and studying the Kabbalah. His exploration of spiritual teachings motivated a commitment to self-development, which in turn created a new path and goal in life. Shanti and the Magic Mandala was born from his inner journey. This is the first in a series of many more exciting books to come. So let's please welcome to the show from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Let's welcome F.T. Camargo. Yes.
Hello, FT. How are you?
Hello.
How are you?
Hello, Louise.
Hello.
Fine. How about you?
I'm doing great. Doing just great. And we're
thank you very much for the opportunity to be interviewed in such a nice radio program.
Oh, we are so happy to have you, and
Yes.
thank you for joining us to talk about this adventurous book where you just bring some magic to the planet here, and we are excited about that.
And I love the intro, if I must say. The intro, it doesn't look like your typical promotion for a book. It looks like a promotion for a motion picture.
Oh, thanks a lot.
And you know, that's saying a lot now, FT, because this book, after reading it, it does have the potential for a motion picture. And that, I mean, it's just a great dynamic book, very adventurous and very intriguing. And how, with you living in Brazil and you are, you speak these different languages, that's great to be able to speak various languages. You're speaking Portuguese, Italian, English, and Spanish, and you're a world traveler. You've been to many countries. What are some of the countries you've been to?
Yeah, I have been to many countries. In fact, I am a kind of addicted in travels. And I have been around and and I do many research regarding the places, and also the book, the Shanti and the Magic Mandala, for me is more than a book. It's a kind of purpose in my life, and it's a multicultural story, and I have been to different locations in which the plot happens. And so it was amazing to do all this research in different countries and bring this to a book.
Now, have you been to Peru?
Yes, I have been to Peru, and I have heavily researched Peru, because Peru is like a very important part of the plot. And I did many interviews there, and I did different things, different trackings, different studies, also studies related in mythology, and also different places. And so what I bring in the book, like, it's also my own experiences. Like, I have experienced many things.
Yes, I noticed that you really have, and you bring a very great dynamic to the book in that you have traveled, and I like the settings, the various settings, and you start the book off in, we're not going to give the book away, of course, because we want the readers to read it, but you start off in Manhattan, and you really develop your characters, these teenagers, and how they're working together in different hemispheres. And you started the book off in Manhattan. what prompted you
Yes.
to start it in Manhattan? Have you been to Manhattan, New
Yeah,
York?
you know, like I find New York such a great, democratic, and multicultural city for the book to begin. And also, I have been going to New York since I was 16, and I really know well the city. And as I am a travel addicted, and since we live in a globalized era, I decided to use different countries I have traveled to around the world in this book. And so Manhattan, it's a very important part of the plot because like as a multicultural city, it's a very interesting one because you can find like people for all around the world. And I have like the 6 main characters and 3 of them will meet in Manhattan. And so it was very interesting to do this, and also because Manhattan for me is like my second home. Like I know very well, and it's very intense the experience to write about.
Oh yeah, I could see that because the book is so, you develop your character so well, and being an author myself, it's so intriguing how you develop each one of these characters, and you're so distinct about each one in developing them and telling the stories of what they're doing and how they're doing it. You really get deep into your imagination of these characters, and that's what's so intriguing and adventurous, and how you mix you do a good mixture of fantasy and reality and putting that together. Now, that has to do with your own spirituality, right?
Yeah, yes, that's the point, important point. I think like the most important thing that is the point that I started to write. It was my spiritual path that I started around 7 years ago. And I have been passing to different teachings, different schools. And also I practice yoga, meditation, and also I studied the Kabbalah. And also the fact that I used to travel to many different places, many different locations. I love to experience different cultures and to know different people. So the fact to bring like the 6 different characters with different cultural and religious background, the main point for me is like as we live in a globalized era, was the intention and the desire to show that it's possible to have a harmony and union between among the difference. And so, like, I think we have to be proud about our own background. It's very nice to be proud about our own background, but we have, like, to understand, to understand and not admire the difference.
Yeah, and you went from being an award-winning architect to becoming a writer. What was the transition, if you will, that brought you from being that architect into coming into writing this novel?
Yeah,
go through that transition period from the architect to the writer.
Yes, I worked a lot with as an architect, and I loved my profession. But one day, like, I start to feel that something was missing. And the important point for me is like, it's related to my spiritual path. I started like my spiritual path, I started doing different studies and passing through different schools of spirituality, and also doing and practicing yoga, meditation. I think this is the important and turning point. And once I started to do this, I start to change my own perception, and I start to look inside of me, and I realized that I need a change in my life, and I need to maybe to find a new purpose for everything, and to try to understand why I was here, and also to try to do my share through something. And that is when, like, I got insight during a meditation that some years after I started, like, of course, and that I could write a book and sharing my own experiences, trying to inspire young readers.
Absolutely. Our audience sees, you know, they might look and they'll see that I wear my yin and yang necklace around my neck, which I've learned about the symbolism of the yin and yang practice. And so tell us, what is the mandala? Can you explain to our audience what the mandala is?
Without getting too much into the book now, because we don't want to give the story away.
Right.
No, it's okay. Like a mandala, it's a sacred piece that there has many different ones in many different traditions.
Yes.
But mainly it's like to connect it with the divine.
That's right.
It's like it's a tool. It's a tool to connect, and so you can use like with different approaches, and there is like different and many kinds that it's like hard to try to describe, but basically it's a tool to try to connect it with the divine, to elevate our level of consciousness.
Yes.
That, and so like you can use the mandala in different ways, and there is like different types, different shapes, and brings different symbols as well.
That's right.
And in my case, I choose for like to use like the it's related to the astrology, and because all these stories have a connection with this astrology. But I think it's better to not go deep in these subjects, because otherwise, like, we can like.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to give away too much information.
We don't want to give away too much.
But I do want to show, at least show the symbol. You can't see right now, but just to show our viewing audience, if they can see, this is just an example of what the
glare is there.
The glare is right there, so you can't see it.
Hold it down. Let me see.
There we go.
There you go.
If you can see a little
there
bit,
you go.
it's a little on the. It's a little bright in here, so you can't really see. But there's one symbol of it. It's a lot of different symbols, such as a Krishna or Buddha. Hindu teachings relate to the mandala, and I think it's really great that you've dove into that aspect of spirituality. Now, can you explain also to our audience what the Kabbalah is?
Kabbalah is like wisdom that was born in the Judaism, and it's like a translation. In some way, they have like the sacred book that it's called the Zohar. The Zohar is like a sacred book that in some way it's like the translation of the codes and the symbology of the Old Testament that we can call the Old Torah.
Yes.
And it's a wisdom and brings like teachings like how to understand our process here in this planet, and talk that we are all like we came from the same place that they call the light, that we can understand as God, and that we are all connected, and we came here specifically for a mission. Like we are spiritual beings having like a physical experience, and we are here as like planet Earth is like a school for us, to teach us and also to improve ourselves, our souls, and to fix things that we must be fixed. And they teach that how can we do this and how can we develop ourselves better. They understand that love each other is the best way. And so we learn like to understand how important it is to share in our lives and understand that everybody are the same. We are all connected. We are all brothers and sisters.
That's right.
That is so true and so profoundly how you explained it, because that's exactly what we are all about. And that's why when you said we're on a mission, and earlier you had mentioned, FT, about why we're here, and that is so profound, and we need to all realize that. And that's why I'm on a mission, and I started this show because of exactly how you summarized what the wisdom of it all is. And as each of us develops that wisdom, we should have that each one teach one philosophy. And I'm on a mission as well, and that's why I came up with Aim to Purpose. And I often tell my audience that I woke up with this in my subconscious. It has always been there, but I wasn't aware of it until 2010 in November, December of 2010. I woke up and I had Aim to Purpose. And I'm on a mission now because we are a global broadcast and we are about love, peace, and harmony. And that's what we should be bringing to the planet. And it's interesting how you have taken this novel and you have utilized your gift as a writer, coming from an award-winning architect, and you have developed these characters and mingled the fantasy with the reality, which really brings wisdom and help us to understand really who we are. And we all do have a purpose in life, and that is so profound. And I love how you've developed the characters and how they even talk about their purpose and the light versus the darkness and the good versus the evil. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, and in fact, like, I'm very glad because I already got 3 awards like with this book, and the book is it was officially launched on the Frankfurt Book Fair, right, in Germany in October, and the book already got 3 prizes, and I am very glad because the people are realizing that they are enjoying so much the story, and also this aspect that you said that it's so important, because I think there are books that are only for entertainment, and I think of course I want to entertain, but the main point is we must try to inspire, because we have a mission and we have to do our share. I think we are in this planet. I think we are in transit here, and in this planet, in my opinion, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we are here for sure for a reason. And I think we have to improve ourselves and also to transform and correct things which must be changed. So I think we must to understand and love the planet, and especially our neighbors. And we must definitely understand that we are also the responsible for our lives. We have to take the responsibility, So we must do our share. We must go out of our comfort zone, helping others, helping the animals, the nature, the environment. We have to assume that the responsibility is ours as well. We can't keep always pointing and accusing others. If we keep stand and still doing nothing, we are also guilty. So that's, I think it's the same point that you are doing your fantastic program, trying to inspire and bring compassion. It's the same. So let's stand up and do our share, being proactive towards our planet. I think this is the point that...
Exactly, it is. And it's interesting you said that, because the acronym for Aim to Purpose is aspiration, inspiration, motivation, edification, and determination. And that's what my concept of our life journey is all about. And the purpose is pursuing urgently realistic potential opportunities successfully envisioned, because we must envision something and to seek since we are born here, that's one of the most important things about life is we are born, and then to find your purpose. That's the beauty of being born, to find your purpose. And then I have the elements of the aim to purpose, which are vision, hope, faith, knowledge, and action. Because if you don't have a vision and you don't take some action on that vision once you find out what the vision is, I always say I can see my vision even with my eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter. I see my vision, and that's the beauty of it. And we should have fun. Yeah, the book is about entertainment as well as you bringing light to the world with this book. And that's what's so intriguing about it. And you blend these characters so well, and they're multicultural characters. So why did you come up with the idea to blend these multicultural characters and the various religions together?
Yeah, you know, like the people also think, why write for teenagers? Nah? I think I wrote a book I would have been amazed to read if I were a teenager. And you know, the main point is, in my opinion, young people are the ones who will be able to change this world.
That's right.
That's why I decided to bring them something to plant a seed in their lives, to be able to germinate good feelings related to the planet, related to their rights. So I decided it could be a good idea to use a playful approach with these themes that are so important for the planet. You know, like we are talking about freedom, we are talking about human rights, we are talking about planet protection, about animal defense, about love, about all these subjects that are fundamental for the health of our planet. So that's why I decided to write an adventure, but it's a fantasy as well, but also there are many mystical and spiritual approaches. And the point to use multicultural characters with different religions and cultural backgrounds, it's very important nowadays to understand that we have to say no to many things. And one, it's like to say no to the prejudice, to say no to the violence, to say no to the war. So that's my idea, to use different characters with these different backgrounds and religious backgrounds, and it's like to show that we can have peace among the differences.
And that's so important and so true. And we're going to take a commercial break here, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about, I knew you had won this Moonbeam Children's Award, but you've won some others since we've last had contact. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk some more about the awards and some more about the book and what's going on in the book, not to give it away, but it's so adventurous. And what we are talking about is really bringing reality to light mixed in with the fantasy. And that's the beauty of the book that I love so much about it, and how you've developed these multicultural characters. So let's take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk some more about your awards.
Thank you very much, Louise. Very kind of you.
Okay, so hold on, and we'll be right back.
I'll be here.
Hey folks, it's Ken here. If you or someone you know around the world has a small business, organization, or foundation you'd like to share with the Aim to Purpose audience, showcase it here on our segment of the show called Small Business Monday. The opportunities for people around the world to browse, buy, and use your products and services are endless. We pre-screen all businesses, organizations, and foundations for legitimacy, but because this is a free community service brought to our audience, it's at no cost to you as well. You heard it right. It's absolutely free, and you don't have to pay 1 penny. How do you like that? You just come on down to the studio and tell the story of your business, organization, or foundation, and give it the praises and accolades you know it deserves. If you're in another part of the state or country, or if you're in another part of the world, you can easily call in or Skype in and do the same. So what are you waiting for? Contact the show's publicist, Shamika Brown, at www.divinebrownmedia.com. She can also be contacted at 1-818-533-8463. Or contact Louise Hicks at www.louisehicks.biz. She can also be contacted at 1-562 310-1495. Allow yourself to be seen by the global masses and allow your business to shine and grow because of the global masses. It's Small Business Monday, courtesy of Aim to Purpose, the radio show.
Okay, world, we are back. And again, I'm Louise Hicks along with my co-host, Kennon Wesley Mason. And we are talking today with F.T. Camargo, the author of this adventurous, intriguing novel, Shanti and the Magic Mandala. And we just left off just before the break. We were talking about how all these multicultural characters have come together and how FT has really used his imagination to blend in the fantasy with the reality and help people find their purpose. And it's teenagers here, but they are really bringing to light wisdom. And that's so vital because that's what we talked about also earlier, the wisdom of life and finding purpose. Now, we were going to go ahead and get into these awards. You are an award-winning architect, and now, as a writer, you are an award-winning author. So how did you come about getting these awards? I know you got the Children's Award, but tell us a little bit about that one and tell us about the other awards that you've gotten.
Oh, great. Yeah, no. Thank you. Yeah, the novel was officially launched in the Frankfurt Book Fair, like in German, on October 10th, 2014. And I'm very glad because Shanti and the Magic Mandala already got 3 prizes. The first one was at the 2014 Moonbeams Children's Awards. I got a bronze medal at the Young Adult Fiction Spirituality category. And then this year I received like a message that I got already 2 more prizes. Like last week I got the message that I have been informed that I have also got an honorable mention in the 2014 New England Book Festival in Boston, in the category Young Adult, and I'm very glad about that. And this week, I'm very, very happy because I received the news that I am the winner of the 2014 London Book Festival in London in the category Young Adult as well.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm very glad about this because this talks about the book, like the story, like that the people are getting involved in this project. And this is the important thing for me because, like, as I told you before, like Shanti, my book, Shanti and the Magic Mandala, is more than a book for me. It's a new purpose in my life. And I think this is very nice and helps a lot because this is a base, like create a strong base for the book. And next week I go to Boston to receive the honorable mention. And then the next week I will go to London to receive the winner.
Is that Boston, Massachusetts you're going to?
Yes, Boston,
great.
Massachusetts.
Great,
yeah.
great.
I think it's really great that the book is circulating the way that it is, being that you're in Brazil, but it's made its presence known in Germany and Boston and London, and you're getting the accolades that you definitely deserve. And I'm just happy that you made it a point to you've made it a point to want world freedom, world liberation. Like you said, say no to prejudice, say no to war, say no to illness and disease, and say yes to peace, say yes to health, say yes to harmony. We have so many people that never come out of their comfort zone and travel. I always tell people that traveling is probably one of the best things any individual can do in their lifetime. outside, if you live here in the U.S., travel outside of the U.S. Your mind will definitely open to new possibilities, and also just open to other people's possibilities and ideas, and know that we're not the only people here. The world is much bigger than here in Hollywood. The world is much bigger than Brazil, where you are. There's a multitude of places that can be traveled that will open people's minds. And you have teenagers, which you have teenagers as the characters in this book, and teenagers are really more open to new ideas, and like you said, they will be the ones that will either change the world for the better, or they will destroy the world as we see it. So there is a choice to be made, and I think teenagers can really be influenced to do something for the better for the planet in reading this piece that you have here.
Oh, thanks a lot. And I think it's very important, the inspiration, like to inspire them, because, you know, like nowadays, like it's very easy they receive lots of things like that are not so good, you know, like just for entertainment, and they are very connected with drugs and all these stuffs. And so I think they are missing in their lives inspiration, and also different paths to be shown. Like you can do like outdoor sports, you can study sacred geometry, it's amazing. You can go and, you know, like you can travel, backpacking around the world, exchange experience with different people.
That's right.
So I think we have to open doors for these people, because sometimes they have no way, because they feel like inside a box.
Yeah.
They feel like inside a room with a TV and with McDonald's, and that's it.
You are so right, FT. And for us to inspire these young people, because they're going to be our future, and we need to inspire them in a positive way, and to give them the wisdom that we have to help them, and they can give us wisdom too, because a lot of these young people, believe it or not, they are really insightful. They're inquisitive, and that's the good thing about it. They have new ideas. They bring to the planet something new in their own uniqueness, in their own imagination, in their own being consciously aware of what's going on in the world. It's amazing how some of the young people have really honed into being spiritual as well as consciously aware, and it's all up to us. Like you've written this dynamic book here, even though some of it, when it would jump out, it's like the cougars and snakes, like they're jumping out of the book at me, and I'm saying, oh my God. So it's really intriguing, and I'm thinking, with the young people being so inquisitive, their characters and how you've developed them, that brings the reality of it, even though it's mixed with fantasy, but it does bring light to the world. And it does bring reality to the world. And it's something interesting in the book that it's on page 33 that I found interesting, and I just want to read that part and just get what you were thinking when you wrote this part. And it's where Paulinho, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, said, "One day many seeds were planted in this life, and they always germinate. Everything that's sown in the field of life germinates, the good and the bad seeds." Antonio flashed a smile. "A little bit different from our farm soil. When we plant grass seeds, a lot of them grow, but the bad seeds don't." And this is kind of giving, I guess, a parallel between us as humans and the farmland soil. Well, we know as humans there is good and evil, whereas with the soil that we plant in, some of the seeds will grow and the bad ones won't. So what were you thinking when you, because I love that part, that paragraph there.
Thank you very much, very much. It was like a symbological thing to compare, like, because in fact Antonio, it's like a boy, like her dad has a farm, a very important farm,
right,
and then do many plantations. And in the soil, it's like in the real life, like when you put a seed in the soil, the seed can germinate it or not. But comparing to the spiritual path and the universal law of the universe, it's different. That it's like talk about responsibility, because we are the responsible ones for our lives, and everything has been planted in a different level of consciousness and a different dimension. Everything that we are experiencing now, it's something that has previously planted as a seed. And it's like an important teaching as well from the Kabbalah. And many, I think, esoteric traditions says this.
Oh, yeah.
And I perfectly, like, I agree 100% about this. And so I was like, would be like nice to compare it this, because Antonio was like talking with a boy that it was from a very, very simple family, not educated, and to try to give an example to him,
right,
for him to understand the law of the attraction,
yes,
and the law of the seeds as well.
Yes, you mentioned the soil, and you can compare it to the human brain. The soil doesn't care what kind of seed that you plant into the ground. If you nurture it and take care of it and water it, whether it's a seed of corn or whether it's a seed of nightshade or whatnot, you're going to get growth from out of the ground. The human brain is the same way. If you plant more positive ways of thinking and having your emotional self in check, you'll be granted more positive results in your life. On the flip side, the brain doesn't care if you plant negative seeds of thought or influence. That will be thrown out into the ether as well, and that will germinate. So it's all a matter of how we see life, and with the practices that you mentioned, whether it's Kabbalah or Buddhism or Hinduism, all of these practices talk about the law of creation and the law which activates law of attraction, and puts all of the energies of the universe into motion, which they're already in motion. They're always in motion. But it's a matter of how you want your life to conclude. After you get whatever it is that you want out of life, or whatever you want out of life, law will always come into play, whether it's positive or negative. So when you have a book like this, where you have teenagers that I guess all have their different stories to tell, and then all come together at some point, I think it's a great thing, and it definitely teaches something that is much greater than themselves that they've tapped into.
And they're so smart.
Yeah.
I mean, how did your imagination just ran away with you. You developed these teenagers' characters. They're so smart, all of them, all the 6 of them.
Thank you.
And Shanti is just is like, she's such a bright girl, and these kids have so much wisdom, and they are going to stop this darkness, and it's amazing. So did you always have a vivid imagination like that as a child? Where did that come from?
I think since I was a child, I love to read like fantasy stories, adventure stories, and I always transport myself to the places. And even like today, like writing, the writing process for me is amazing, because usually I do like after my spiritual practices, like after meditation, I get many insights. And once I start to write, it's very interesting because I go and flow in the story as I was like a character in the plot, like participating in all the adventures, in all the places. I can see the colors, I can see the movement, I can see everything. This is one part that I think it's my ludic part, like that I keep my child, I keep my boy, you know, inside me.
The inner child.
Sorry?
The inner child.
Yeah, the inner child.
Yes.
And the other point is that I think it's very important in the writing process, because usually if we think like that, oh, I have to find it in my mind and in the rational process. In my opinion, it's the opposite, because in the mind process we have the ego, and the ego we are very easily hostage of our fears. And for me, like the very important points of to write is the creativity, intuition, and inspiration. And this, I don't think you can find in a normal rational process. We can reach, like, once we are disconnected from the mind. It's like, for me, my opinion, it's a no-mind process. And then when we can reach a higher level of consciousness.
Right.
That's why for me, like after my meditation process, when I can reach like a higher level of consciousness, it's much like easier and much like it's incredible to write.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, it is. And I like what you said about being a hostage of our fears, because that is true. So many of us, we don't really reach our highest calling and find our true purpose and mission because we are hostages of our fears. And when you're so afraid to move with what you have, your inner child, your inner, let it come from the inside out, it holds you back from those dreams, those goals, those hopes and aspirations of achieving them, because you've held yourself a hostage. And that's so sad, because so many people die and they have not fulfilled their purpose on earth, and they have not allowed that brilliance that they have within, that they're born with. I call it their DNA, their divine natural ability, not the blood DNA, but your divine natural ability, that DNA. It's never allowed to come outside of you because you are held a hostage of your own fears. And what you're doing is so grand and great, because you're helping everyone, not just the young people, but you developed these characters so well because you allowed that inner child to come out. And we need to take another break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about your future and what you see and what's going to go on, and then we'll wrap things up.
Great.
So we'll take another break, and we'll be right back. So stand by.
It's a pleasure for me. Thank you.
Okay.
This edition of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, is brought to you by L. Hicks Consulting Services. When you want the best in business coaching, life coaching, or perhaps your organization, business, or company is in need of a dynamic speaker for an upcoming workshop or seminar, contact Louise Hicks for L. Hicks Consulting Services at 1-562-310-1495. From anywhere around the world, that's 1-562-310-1495. For more information about Louise Hicks and her consulting services, visit her website at www.louisehicks.biz. Again, that's www.louisehicks.biz. Or call 1-562-310-1495. L. Hicks Consulting Services, where professionalism is top priority. Okay, hello world again.
We are back with our special guest today, F.T. Camargo, the author of this exciting, adventurous, intriguing novel, Shanti and the Magic Mandala. And you must go out. We hope you go out and get this book, because this is a great book. It keeps you on the edge. And
as we're showing, as my mom is showing your book on camera for our audience to view.
I'll hold it up again.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
showing it on the camera here. And
Oh,
it's
fantastic.
such a dynamic book because it's adventurous, and it just has you on it has you on the edge, because you're wondering, what are these kids going to do next, and how are they going to stop this plan of darkness and the good versus the evil. I mean, move over, Harry Potter, because here comes Shanti.
Oh, I would love. I have plans, and I am already like starting to write the next one. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah,
So-
and that was. Oh, go ahead.
So,
Ken.
so there will be a sequel.
Sequel.
Yeah, I think so, because I think I wrote this book like the main point. I wrote with my heart. I didn't write with my mind, and this is very important thing for me now in this moment, because I could understand the difference between doing something with the heart and something with the mind. And this book, I think I gave all my heart. And I am very involved with love, and it's my new purpose. And I think my characters, they have a lot to say again, like, because it's like tools, like to say and to talk about issues around the planet, things that must be changed, and also things to must inspire. And so I think, I hope Shanti and the Magic Mandala is only the first one, and I have already planned for the second one. I have been in Asia, and I did a big research in some countries there, and so I started like to think about.
Oh yes, you do. And how are your fingers? Because I noticed you've been doing a lot of book signings too, and I saw this big crowd out to get the book. So how are your fingers? Are you getting ready for any more book signings?
Oh yes, of course. We are always ready for good things. And like I'm very happy with all that is happening, and I hope to have another one soon as well.
Well, you said you did the book directly from the heart versus directly from the mind, so that alone will circulate and resonate amongst the people who read this book, and will get that it definitely comes from the heart. You have to do some really deep research, especially when it comes to these type of practices such as Kabbalah, or learning about sacred geometry, the tree of life, the flower of life, all of these different symbolisms, the yin and yang symbol, which I have here. These are practices that very few people, in comparison to the global population, very few people have chosen to indulge in, but when they do, everyone has their time to have their epiphanies in life and come across their purposes. Coming to this show for you, Aim to Purpose, I think is a perfect match, because you did say that you had this book and you had a purpose for it. What better place for you to come and promote your book and tell the world about it than to come to a show called Aimed to Purpose, because you obviously are aimed to a specific purpose and you're implementing it as we speak.
And that is great.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's great what you're doing. And you said about the heart, it coming from the heart, and you didn't put the mind, but we know you did all the research, so the mind. But I see where you put the mind into the students, the kids, because you gave them free will thinking in the book. And I love that aspect of the book, how you allowed these kids to be thinkers. And that's so great, because you brought out their characters, and you really imparted so much until it made such a great impact on how these teenagers, Shanti being a young girl, and how they think. So what do you want the readers to take from this book?
Yeah, I think the main point, I have the desire to inspire with this book, inspire the young people, also the adults as well, but I'm talking about the young people, is to inspire them. The two more important things, I think, it's freedom and compassion. You know, I believe in peace, but I think there is no way to have peace in a place with prejudice, with a place with hate. And compassion and freedom are the two more important things to reach this. And this is like, and also like inspire small movements, you know, like inspire like them to try to change old bad habits and try to try new things, good things, you know, like, because I think there is a misunderstanding in this generation, also because I passed through this. I was a teenager, and we teenagers, like when we are teenagers, it's very easy to be lost and to not know where to go. And freedom, it's a very difficult thing to lead with, because sometimes we think that freedom is to take something to free me, like the teenagers, it's very common these days, they go into the drugs to have the freedom sensation, but these have a cost, and it's a very expensive one.
Yes.
And so it's not it's a paradox. Freedom,
yes.
It's a paradox.
Yes.
And on the other hand, to be free and to reach the freedom, we have to work hard. We have to go out of our comfort zone. We have to have discipline. Sometimes it's the opposite that the people thinks, you know, because it's very easy to go there and take a pill.
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course.
Yes, it is very easy to go there and do that.
Yeah,
so we
that's the point.
Oh, yeah, and you brought it out. So you really brought out the reality, even though it's mixed in with the fantasy and the adventure, and we're pretty much out of time. So we're going to wrap things up. By the way, do you have any plans to move to Manhattan? I know you said New York is such a nice place, and do you have any plans to move? Or are you going to stay?
I would love to.
You'd
because,
love to.
You know, like I found Manhattan for me is like a second home, because I have been there, and I always go there like 3 times a year.
Okay.
The only problem is like to move with my 7 dogs. I have 7 dogs. You know,
oh, wow.
Well, you are an animal lover, as it says in your bio here. How is you spoke about Manhattan? We always hear about Brazil. We know that the 2016 Olympics are taking place in Brazil next summer of 2016.
Yes. That's right.
What is it like just living in Brazil for people that are living here in America? Because people always talk about how beautiful Brazil is.
Yeah, Rio de Janeiro, I guess, and some of the other places. So just kind of make it briefly, because we are pretty much out of time.
No, it's fantastic. Brazil, it's amazing. It's a beautiful place, beautiful nature, and beautiful people. But, you know, like it's a little bit complicated to talk in a short time, but I think we have like a huge problem problem of corruption and impunity. So I think I wouldn't recommend to anybody to move into Brazil now, and because there are many Brazilians thinking go away.
Yeah. So I guess you have that kind of stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go like as a come on vacations would be amazing. Come in Carnival, I will be your guest.
Well, maybe one day we'll visit. Now, have you been to California? And we're going to have some final thoughts. Have you been to California?
Yeah, I have been to California as well. I love California.
Oh, great. Well, that's where we're coming from, live from Hollywood here in California.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
why don't
LA.
you
and
give us
very welcome to come to Brazil.
Oh, well, one day I'm going to get there.
Bahia.
I'm going to get there one day, and we're going to have, when you finish that sequel, we're going to have you back on the show. So why don't you just give us a minute, less than a minute, 30 seconds or so, a final thought, and we're going to wrap it up.
And a website where we can get the book.
Right, the website.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you too for the opportunity to be in the show. It was amazing. It was really inspiring as well to exchange ideas with people that think the same things and also that has like a mission as well and are doing a great job. And about my contacts, the best way to reach me and reach like my book information is on my website. That it's ftcamargo.com. And it's a nice place because you can reach like all the information related to the book, related to the research I have done, with photos, with my travels, with all the reviews, and I think it's a great place.
That's great. So again, F.T. Camargo, our guest for today. You can go to his website at F like Frank, T like Tom, Camargo, CAMARGO.com. That's ftcamargo.com and get all the information. And again, this is a great book, Shanti and the Magic Mandala.
Yes.
So go out and get it. I believe it's also on Amazon. And you can get the book, and you will be at the edge of your seat.
Yes, thank you so much, F.T. Camargo.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to me, and may the light bless you always.
And same to you. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
And
bye-bye.
And to our global audience, we thank you all for joining us. And until next week, as we always say, we wish you a great week. We have a great guest coming up for next week. And we wish you much light, too, for the coming week. And, as I always say, your power lies within you. Let it loose until next week.